The big question for the 2025-26 season in Atlanta is pretty simple. Can the Hawks be this year's surprise team? Last year it was the Indiana Pacers. Nobody saw them coming, yet they shocked the league, silenced the critics, and made a deep playoff run, all the way to the doorstep of the NBA Finals. Now the Hawks have that same chance. The talent is there, the moment is there, but they've got one problem the Pacers didn't have, and that could change everything. The Pacers' breakout last year wasn't just about scoring points, it was all about timing. They locked in Tyrese Halliburton with a long-term deal, built a defense that could survive playoff basketball, and when the 2025 postseason came, they were ready for anyone. For Atlanta, the story feels similar. A young star at point guard, an exciting roster, and a shot to surprise the league. But here's the catch. Their contract situation isn't as clean, and that's where things could get tricky. Trae Young is Atlanta's version of Tyrese Halliburton, the leader, the star, the guy who runs the show. Four-time All-Star, All-NBA league leader in assists. But here's the difference. Halliburton got his big contract. Trae hasn't. He became eligible last month for a 4-year, $222 million extension, and the Hawks still haven't given it to him. This is where the story feels less like the Pacers and more like Jimmy Butler's. Last year in Miami. Sure, Butler was older, but his team also hesitated to give him a long-term deal. He still got paid, just by Golden State. Now the Hawks are in the same spot. Do they stick with Trae Young and pay him, or do they let the contract drama hang over the season while they try to chase wins? Since moving to Atlanta in 1968, the Hawks have never won an NBA title. In the modern era, they've only reached the conference finals twice, once in 2015 and again in 2021, when Trae Young was in just his third season, lighting up New York and Philadelphia before an ankle injury stopped him. For this city, just making the finals wouldn't be a small step. It would be history. When it comes to putting up numbers, Trae Young is as good as it gets. Points, assists, clutch plays when the game is on the line, he's got them all. Night after night, he's the guy who can drop 30 and make it look easy. But there's another side to the story. For his career, Trae shoots about 43% from the field, 35% from three, and turns the ball over more than 4 times a game. Those numbers give his critics ammo, especially when they bring up his defense, or the lack of it. And fair or not, defense has been the one label that follows him everywhere. It's the same knock Luka Doncic gets, the guy Trae was traded for on draft night back in 2018. Luka doesn't exactly lock people down either. But here's the difference. The Lakers didn't hesitate with Luka. When the time came, they handed him the max deal on day one, no questions asked. That's why this moment feels so tense in Atlanta, because the numbers prove Trae is elite, but the flaws give the front office just enough reason to pause, and that pause, it's exactly where drama starts to grow. The Hawks know their reputation, all offense, not enough defense, and they've been working to change that. Dyson Daniels had a breakout year, locking up guards and wings all over the floor. He finished second in Defensive Player of the Year voting. Proof that Atlanta finally has a perimeter stopper who can hang with the league's best scorers. Then there's Zachary Resactor, the rookie who didn't waste any time. Day one, he stepped right into the starting lineup, bringing size, length, and energy that fits perfectly with what this team needs on defense. Jalen Johnson was looking like a star in the making, averaging 19 points and 10 rebounds before a shoulder injury cut his season short. And Onyeka Okongwu, when he got the chance to start, he quietly posted double-double numbers, battling on the boards and protecting the paint. Piece by piece, the Hawks have started to build a roster that isn't just fun to watch, but can actually compete on both ends of the floor. The question now is, will all these parts come together when it matters most? This summer, the Hawks made it clear they're serious about depth. Kristaps Porzingis brings rim protection and outside shooting. Nickeil Alexander-Walker adds defense, versatility, and a spark off the bench. Luke Kennard gives them spacing and deadly three-point range. On paper, it looks like a playoff-ready roster. Last season, Atlanta finished strong, 13 wins and 9 losses to close the year, just enough to grab a play-in spot. But when it mattered most, they couldn't seal the deal, falling to Orlando and then Miami. Their best stretch? November. They went 3-1 in the NBA Cup group stage, made it all the way to Las Vegas, and showed flashes of what they could be. Sound familiar? That's exactly how Indiana started its rise last year, building momentum in the Cup, finding its identity, and carrying it into the playoffs. Now the question is, can Atlanta do the same? Indiana's run last year was built on 2 things: defense and a healthy Tyrese Haliburton. That formula worked. That formula, right up until the finals, when Haliburton's Achilles gave out. The Pacers didn't suddenly win 60 games. Their win total wasn't a massive jump, but their style of play, their balance, and their commitment carried them to the number 4 seed in the East. Now look at Atlanta. Last season, their defensive rating ranked 18th in the league. That's the gap they have to close if they want to follow Indiana's path. And here's the key difference. The Pacers never had to wonder if Haliburton would stick around. The deal was done. The future was secure. Atlanta hasn't given Trae Young that same guarantee. And that matters, because in the NBA, stability builds trust, and trust builds buy-in. Without it, all the talent in the world can still fall short. Indiana's turnaround started when the whole team bought in on defense. Atlanta has the pieces to do the same. Dyson Daniels, Onyeka Okongwu, Jalen Johnson, athletes who can run, switch, and defend. But can they keep that energy for 82 games? And through the playoffs? That's what will decide if they become Pacers 2.0, or just another team with potential. Trae Young turns 27 next month. These are his prime years, the stretch where stars either chase titles or watch the opportunity slip away. Right now, the Hawks have built a roster that fits him better than ever. The shooting, the defense, the depth, it's all there. The question is, will they give him a reason to believe in their future before another team does? Because in the NBA, once doubt creeps in, it's hard to get it out. Pressure isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes, it's what pushes a player to another level. For Trae Young, that pressure is doubled. He has to prove he can lead this team deep into the playoffs, and prove to the front office he's worth the max deal. If the Hawks commit on defense and stay healthy, they have the talent to fight for a top 4 seed in the East. And this year, the door is cracked open. Jason Tatum and Tyrese Haliburton are both out for the season. There's room for a team like Atlanta to make a run, but windows in the NBA don't stay open forever. If the Hawks want to walk through it, this is the year to do it. If the Hawks get this right, everything changes. Trae Young becomes the centerpiece of a real contender. The team finally smashes through the ceiling that's been hanging over them for decades. And the city of Atlanta, hungry for a championship run, comes alive like it hasn't in a generation. But if they fall short, the questions about Trae's future get louder. The whispers turn into headlines, and the franchise risks sliding back into that dangerous middle ground. Not bad enough to rebuild, but not good enough to win. So here's the question. Will the Hawks be this year's Pacers? They have the blueprint, they have the star, they have the motivation. Indiana showed the path last year. Buy in on defense, trust your leader, and find your identity before the playoffs arrive. Atlanta's got the pieces. Dyson Daniels locking up the perimeter, Jalen Johnson bringing size and energy, Onyeka Okongwu battling in the paint. They've added shooting, depth, and playoff experience with Porzingis, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and Luke Kennard. But the NBA isn't about what you have in October. It's about what's left standing in June. The Pacers made it last year because they sustained it. Every game, every series, no excuses. That's the standard Atlanta has to meet. And for Trae Young, this is more than just a season. It's about proving he can lead a team deep into the playoffs and proving to the Hawks front office that he's worth the long-term investment. The $222 million decision still hangs over everything. It's the elephant in the room that will stay there until pen hits paper. Pressure like that can break players, or it can turn them into legends. The East isn't invincible this year. Tatum's out. Halliburton's out. There's a gap in the hierarchy, a rare opening for a team like Atlanta to step through and claim their spot among the contenders. The blueprint is right there. The star is right there. The opportunity is right there. Now it's about making it last through June. Atlanta, the stage is yours. So what do you think? Are the Hawks built to shock everyone the way Indiana did? Or is this just another year of the same story in Atlanta? Drop your thoughts below. I'll be watching the comments.